No, I agree with that. Do you really believe that the PBC actually has any leverage in regards to Canelo Alvarez? Yeah,
Not at all.
That's what I thought.
Not at all. The only thing I can say for whatever big minimum that Canelo has, let's say it's 50 million, whatever he's owed, per fight. If they're gonna say, well, if we're gonna sign this check, this is who you're gonna have to fight. And then if Canelo wants to go take him to court over it, then so be it. But that's, I would say, the only leverage they have. You better for all that money they pocket. Maybe if they want Bennovitz to go second, to me, I don't see any loss in fighting David Bennovitz next. If Canelo loses, do the rematch in September.
Yeah,
there's your 3 fights with PBC. And if Canelo can't figure out Bennovitz, you're done with Canelo. David Bennovitz is the new big star of boxing, and that's the guy carrying the PBC, flying the PBC flag in 2025. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that strategy. I know it's not going to happen that way though. That's just too perfect a scenario. But yeah, no, I don't see. I won't say PBC doesn't have any leverage with Canelo, but it's very little. Canelo is unfortunately holding the cards right now.
That's what I figured. Now, you mentioned Terence Crawford, and I'm definitely interested in knowing that. I know we probably we were going to go talk about the PBC next, but Crawford, we know that, Bernie the Boxer, who's a part of that camp, was talking about the possibility of Terence Crawford facing Tim Tszyu. Not going to happen. It feels like to me that Terence Crawford really is not on the table for Canelo Alvarez. Now, you're saying that it could possibly happen, but it just feels like that's not necessarily what Canelo's looking for or the PBC. So where do you believe that leaves? I mean, with Errol Spence just recently having cataract surgery, where do you think that leaves Terence Crawford?
Yeah, so a month ago, if you asked me that question, I thought for sure we would see a rematch between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. Just based on everything I heard, I figured that fight would be, sometime maybe a few weeks after Canelo, whatever momentum they wanted to try to get, early into this relationship with Amazon Prime. I don't know. When Tim Tszyu, now, look, I know we're going to get to the, PBC's announcement of the March 30th card. I'm going to get this out of the way. I think Tim Tszyu fighting Keith Thurman is a complete waste of time. Just for the reason you mentioned, that everyone was expecting, okay, well, if Terence Crawford's not going to fight Jermell, if he's not going to rematch rematch Errol Spence, Terence Crawford moving up, a weight division to fight Tim Tszyu is the most sellable fight.
I agree.
So now we're stuck with Tim fighting a welterweight, moving way up in a non-title fight, and Terence Crawford now, who is he going to fight? Is he going to fight Boots? Is he going to fight Stanionis? Mario Barrios? It's like, what are his options? There's nothing. I guess a fight with Boots is the best option, but is it the sexiest option? For where Terence Crawford is at, he just made a very, very high 8-figure payday in his last fight. He's going to want to stay at that level. All the names we just mentioned were his best options, and none of them are available. So it's not even that. It's like, who knows when he even fights next? How does he fit into all this?
But Ennis is available. And now I understand that Ennis is not sexy in terms of the casual boxing fan, but certainly within hardcore boxing communities, he is a very sexy option. He is available. At one point, he was Terence Crawford's mandatory. Right. Do you think there's any chance that Boots Ennis will get an opportunity to face Terence Crawford in the next fight?
I'm going to throw a extreme wild card out. And this is me not knowing anything about Terence Crawford's contract beyond whatever rematch clause came with, the fight with Spence. Oscar De La Hoya swears to God he has a big surprise for Ryan Garcia on April 20th. What if he messed around and decided to do Terence Crawford and Ryan Garcia? I know, I see you. Hold your head around.
God.
It would be a complete massacre, but who else is Ryan Garcia going to fight on pay-per-view unless he's fighting Devin Haney next?
Man, that will let you know Oscar really does hate Ryan Garcia.
but
and they were trying to get Terence Crawford last year.
So let me get this right, because I just got to process this, Jake. You just threw a lot out there.
I think this is a complete shot in the dark.
No, shot in the dark. But if they were to do something like that, Terence Crawford, well, number one, Ryan Garcia would be a moron for taking that fight. He's going to get blasted. I think Ryan is big enough to carry the card, because I still don't believe Bud is actually a draw like that. But this would go completely against all of that legacy crap that he was talking about. All that legacy crap is out the window, and he is all about $1.
So this is why I keep going back to him possibly being in the mix to fight Canelo. I don't expect that fight to happen in May, but that's if it's not going to be Maul and Canelo doesn't fight a mandatory, I don't realistically see who else they'd want to take a chance with.
So let me ask you this, Jake, on that one right there. Okay, so when you think about Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez, what incentive is it for Canelo Alvarez to get in the ring with Terence Crawford? I mean, he's going to make $50 million or whatever his guarantee is, regardless, more than likely. It's probably based in his contract. And then you got a guy that's moving up that if you kick his ass, they're just going to say he's small. And if he kicks your ass, it's all you get is the $50 million that you're going to get anyway for fighting somebody in your weight class. Why would you make that decision?
If a fight with Terence Crawford presents the most upside, that's an even bigger bet. That would be it. I don't even think Canelo, I haven't heard anything that suggests Canelo would even want that fight. But if they could pitch that as the most sellable fight and for him a chance to make as much money as possible, that would be the reason.
You think so with Terence Crawford? Because I don't know what his guarantee is. Maybe you have a better idea, but I think they probably lose money whether it's Terence Crawford or any other fighter, unless it's I don't think he makes. This doesn't feel like he's going to be profitable unless he gets into the ring with David Bennovitz, something that's highly anticipated, or somebody like Munguia, who seems like maybe his star is starting to rise in terms of drawing power. So I'm struggling with the Crawford thing. I just find it hard to believe he'll get that opportunity.
And I will say this with Munguia. Like, again, I'm not campaigning. I'm already very clear that I want to see Canelo and David Benavidez next. But to your point, a fight, especially the way Munguia looked last night, that fight is now sellable for May. That's a huge fight for May, probably a bigger fight in September. But there you go. And, Canelo could pitch, okay, well, if I fight Munguia, that gets my WBO mandatory out of the way. So at least that's one. I don't know if he even cares about that part. But before the sanctioning bodies start ordering fights, and my hunch is that the WBO will be the only ones who actually order a mandatory because they've already done it with John Ryder last year. That gets that out of the way. And then he would have room to fight Benavidez in September, then maybe rematch next year or whatever. So that would actually keep the ball moving. So I don't like speculating because last year, we had all these ideas of who Canelo was going to fight, and then they came out of left field saying he was fighting Jamel Charlo that nobody expected. So what's to stop him from doing the same thing in May?
Very true. Very true. A fight no one asked for last year with Canelo and Jamel Charlo was no one asked for that, and they gave it to us anyway. So
yeah,
we could definitely
very with that, right? Because I like what they did with the Zoo Keith Thurman undercard, but they got to be careful with giving us main events that nobody's asking for. That's again, this is a brand new platform. We don't know how many people are going to go. I know they keep pitching. Amazon Prime has whatever 160 million, but we've heard all those numbers with all these other platforms too, and boxing doesn't generate anywhere close to those numbers.